That is an incredibly fast lizard. It's killed a yellow-throated plated lizard. I saw the entire hind end of the body as it lifted it up there. I can see its crop is pretty full at the moment, and you see when you go, yes, I'm going to make a bit more space. Thank you, bird. Luckily we went underneath it, but the crop is actually not quite underneath the throat, it's not quite underneath the beak, it's lower down on the neck, where the neck sort of joins the body is where the crop of the raptors are, and when they eat, the crop fills up with all the stuff that they eat. So sometimes with vultures and eagles, when they fly off from somewhere, you can actually see whether they've just been feeding, because the crop is full. And well, all birds have a crop, really. It's a pre-digestive mechanism, for want of a better phrase. There's the tail. Oh, look, almost like a snake's tail. There it is again, just hanging down from the back of the left foot. The lizard is a grassland, sort of mostly grassland termitarium lizard, and it does have a very, very long tail. I'm going to get out my reptile book and I'm going to show you what it looks like. There was a rather strange circumstance a couple of months ago. Jason was on camera with me, and we were talking about plated lizards, and I was saying I don't think that the yellow-throated plated lizard might occur here, because there's the rough-scale plated and the giant plated and the tawny plated, and they're some of the biggest lizards that we get here, apart from the monitor lizards. They're far bigger than the agama lizards, and this lizard is one of our biggest grassland lizards, and intermediate. Ooh. He was actually holding it. I'm very impressed that a Wahlbergs could get something like that, because he must have been sitting in a branch for a long time. He's carrying it again. There's that beautiful long tail of the lizard. Now, some of the relatives of these lizards are the seps and some of the grass lizards that actually have bodies of snakes. Their legs have become almost vestigial, because they're able to work their way serpentine-like through the grasses, and that their legs could only be a hindrance. So for some of them, they've actually lost most of their limbs. Or rather, let me rephrase that might come across wrong. That's mostly the tail section that this eagle has got now. Looks like it's probably eaten most of the head. I'm dying to get underneath this tree to see if maybe it dropped the head. It would be the highlight of my week if I could find any part of this lizard to look a little bit closer at it, because I don't ever get to. You dropped it. You dropped it, you silly bird. So I'm going to have to take it to another tree now. Anyways, Jason and I found, he's taken it, but it's got to go into a different tree. I'm going to try and get there, because now he's sitting in the sun with it. If there are no animals moving around, we've got far more exciting things to look at. Sometimes we can get lucky and we can find little gems. If we could consider that this eagle is almost like the cat of the eagle world, the cat of the raptors, the leopard of the feathered leopard of the feathered friends. The leopard world sitting over a beautiful Tambuti tree that it's sitting in, by the way. But unfortunately we're not able to see its talons now. There are yellow-billed hornbills that are complaining about his presence. Oh, did you drop it again? Wings caught in a branch. That's how you damage your feathers, child. I wonder if he dropped it again. Now, if I see something like this at home, I will wait until the whole thing is over, and then I will scour the bottom of these trees for any scrap of whatever it was, so that I could learn something, so that I can have something. This is a lizard species that at best you get a 1 second or a 2 second glimpse of it. It's one of the reasons why we've never been able to catch them. If I'm lucky, in Salati when I'm there, because it's so rocky, I'm lucky enough to get maybe rough-scaled plated or giant plated or tawny plated lizards and flat lizards basking in the sun before they scamper off for a couple of seconds. But there are so many species of lizards that I would love to show you, that I would love to find, but it's not in my nature, and it's not in our nature as WildEarth to go chasing after them and lifting rocks and catching them and hauling them out to present to a camera. That's not what we do, because it is having such an impact, and it is changing our position of just being this roving camera that can come through their territory and hope to witness them. And most of the time when it comes to reptiles and lizards and things, we just don't really get the chance. And whether it is a camera on the vehicle or not is irrelevant, but the other part of that is that when I'm at home it's the same thing, and very often I very seldom get to see, unless there's a bird eating something, or unless, sad to say, roadkill. Fortunately that's not a species that I see much. I think it did. I think that time when it got its wing caught, I think it did drop that tail again, because it's trying to find it now. going to get my reptile book out so I can show you what it is that this eagle's been eating. Before we go away and leave him be. I still think that maybe the skull might be here. Oh, good, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, hardly covers it. Plated lizards, here we go, plated lizards. So this is the yellow-throated plated lizard, and I have no doubt, because I saw some of these yellow stripes before while it was eating, and there were even bits of hind leg, and I think what we've managed to, when we got here, it had finished most of the front part and it was on the hind legs and things tearing, and what it dropped was from about there down the tail, quite a long tail. What I was telling you about, here on the left, here's a seps. You can see that there it has one of the seps, one of the sort of grass lizards that have lost their limbs through not needing them much, so they have vestigial limbs. These are other seps. I don't think this was a seps. I'm still convinced because I saw a little bit of yellow, but yeah, it almost looks like a grass snake, but it is actually a lizard, and it's one of the grass lizards. There are some of the grass lizards, or the seps, that have still have limbs, because they have obviously occupied habitats and things where they still require, like on rocky outcrops and things where they require limbs, and so they still have quite functioning limbs. But there are also other seps, the long-tailed seps, which is now also perhaps moving into more of a grassland habitat. The hind legs are almost vestigial. There's not much left there because the tail is probably more than 2/3 the length of the body, and the front legs are probably just there to help it guide it through the grassland. Really weird and wonderful things that happen with lizards and skinks, and how their bodies adapt to their niche that they find within the environment. And I suppose if you don't use it, you lose it kind of mentality. We're going to leave this eagle be. I'm just going to come, I hope I don't disturb him. So if I'm a little closer, he was up there. I'd love to know if he dropped the skull, but he might have eaten the skull. But yeah, like a needle in a haystack. Bye-bye, eagle. I guess there was a reason why I came down here, isn't there?